Howdy, Banger pals. Blaine Smith welcoming you to Overkill Reviews, Banger's weekly metal review show. This week, we're covering something pretty Blaine, but also pretty not Blaine. At the same time, it defies categorization. Let's have a listen.
Who is the person that lets me revert in the night? And I've been eternized to spin you out. I've been eternized just to spin you out.
Yes, ZEAL and ARDOR are back with the new album, Greif. Greif. Not Grief. Everybody thinks it's Grief. It's Greif. That's as much a note for you and I as it is for my editor, so they doesn't think I made a typo in the script and put Grief in there. All right. It came out August 23rd. It's an independent release. So let's talk ZEAL and ARDOR. The project was created in 2013 by multi-instrumentalist and unfairly talented Swiss dude who moved from Switzerland to New York, Manuel Gagnon, immediately making waves due to a combination of Southern gospel with black metal. The people you'd expect to be receptive to that were, and the people you'd expect to take umbrage with that did. And that perfect storm helped catapult the mad scientist creation to the front line pretty quick. It got in front of a lot of people because of some early buzz and hate, and since then it's a project that's more than lived up to the attention it garnered, expanding to a full band, now releasing their fourth full length. The first three, they nailed it and kept experimenting. So what's the recipe this time? Let's find out. To his great credit, Manuel could have just gone the gimmick route with ZEAL and ARDOR and probably still done pretty well for himself. Instead, he's carried it with a lot of integrity. He's tried to innovate and advance the project on every release. So what's he got cooking for us this time around? A fucking Queens of the Stone Age record, I guess. Hey, Blaine. That doesn't sound very innovative. Queens of the Stone Age, for example, have released like 8 Queens of the Stone Age records. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what happened here. I fully back everything they've done up to this point, but this feels a lot less like a band that's continuing to push outward and more like an act that's turned inward. And coming from where I'm coming from, which is a basement, it's hard not to notice that there's a big black metal shaped hole in the middle of this thing. I guess a black metal shaped hole would be like that. Again, I never wanted the black metal to be a crutch, but it never really was. It's more like those blades that dudes without feet run races on. Like, so you lost those and you replaced them with feet, which makes you a normal rock band. So like, I don't know, what are we doing here? Like, it's a fine rock album. It's a strong rock album, but 3 albums of creativity feels like a pretty long walk to arrive at cooler Kings of Leon. I don't know. Thankfully, ZEAL and ARDOR do have a crutch they can lean on to never fully fall down and make a piece of crap. I know the hating-ass gatekeepers are like, oh, he's just using metal because metal's cool and he wants money, but I don't know why he'd need that gimmick when he can goddamn sing like this. Manuel's voice is phenomenal, and he's able to use it to deliver an incredible range of emotion whenever he wants in a wide variety of styles he covers. Styles, I might mention, that have a lot more money in them than metal. This project is the singing equivalent of an acting reel for a regular at the Oscars. We know he can do metal, rock, help, solaces vocally an R&B track. And then, of course, there's his signature spirituals that he always keeps me constantly wanting more of on tracks like 369. 369. Jesus Christ, I accidentally summoned an East Side Boy. Regardless, I'd take a full album in any of those styles from him because he always sounds 100% committed and as genuine as any established act in the genre. He manages to both evoke the best of the genre while still sounding like himself. It's a remarkable ability, and it's the reason that the people that don't like what he's doing over here are in the minority, because we can hear that he means it. And yeah, I'd take 42 minutes of 369. Earlier Queens of the Stone Age snark, there is still a variety of sounds on here. Are You the Only One Now evokes Echo and the Bunnymen. Clawing Out sounds like 9 Inch Nails if you're being charitable, Korn if you're being me. Help, Killanova sounds like a Billie Eilish song to mix things up even further. And that's on par for the band, as its quasi mission statement has always been feeding a bunch of pieces into a meat grinder until it comes out zeal and artery. Zeal and artery, zeal and arterus. I don't know. Anyways, as someone who listens to a ton of different metal as well as a bevy of stuff outside of metal, I've always loved to hear what pieces Manuel. I'm saying they. I mostly mean Manuel. Sorry, guys. But the pieces he'd pick and how it would turn out. And the past 3 records have managed to synthesize something completely new out of whatever disparate parts were chosen. This time, though, it's more you're hearing a version of those things than you're hearing a unique reimagining of them, transformed and reborn. It's like they popped out of a lab and said, hey, we discovered penicillin, and it's like, hey, that's cool, but someone did that already. We have that already. Worse, though, it causes a bit of a chain reaction with the album, because the parts don't sound enough like Zeal and Ardor. It wound up sounding like a disjointed record without a coherent through line or flow. Unlike my review, which has flowed perfectly from piece to piece until I jammed this patron plug in the middle. But that's significantly less disruptive than a World of Tanks ad coming in right now. And the way we do that is we have a Patreon campaign. You toss us a couple bucks. We don't have to sell this ad space to anybody, and it keeps everything going. So if you like what we're doing, a couple bucks on Patreon. If you don't have a couple bucks lying around, like, comment, subscribe, usual YouTube nonsense. Thankfully, while the record might be a bit of a desert, there is an oasis. Jesus Christ, they summoned something far worse this time. What's a synonym for oasis so that doesn't happen again? I don't know. A shitty blur? Ayo. Pow, pow, pow. Anyways, after our long desert walk, we get aptly named Hide in Shade at the end, which is trademark Zeal and Ardor. I want to say blackened black metal, but I hope I don't get in trouble for that. It's the perfect blend of black metal and Manuel's amazing soul singing. It's just brimming with energy, and it stands shoulder to shoulder with any of the tracks that have gotten this many earballs onto this band to date. I love the pacing of the thing. Instead of just ramping up as you'd expect, it bounces up and down like a yo-yo. It would also be a terrible way to end a record, as it's far more of a pump you up track. You don't close out on something like that. Thankfully, Manuel sings us off to sleep with the actual closer, To My Ilk. It's a simple but strong song that feels like it could be wrapping up an episode of season 1 True Detective. Me, though, I'm wrapping up a review, and I ain't going out on a slow jam, so hit it. Ardor unlikely success story. Picking basically the path of most resistance, they beat the odds not once, not twice, but thrice. Unfortunately, the roulette wheel has finally landed on red. We didn't lose our life savings or anything. Manuel is still a peerless vocalist. Hide and Shade is a track that only he could execute, and honestly, for something that unique, I'm willing to accept a lot of punishment, which is a very harsh word for what's happening here. Apparently, My Gitmo is an all-right rock album. If anybody else delivered this, it would probably be an interesting idea showing promise. For ZEAL and ARDOR, it's a first misstep, but they've earned the leeway from me to still be optimistic about the future. So I don't love the record. I can't give it an amazing score. I love the last two songs. So 2 East Side Boys and half a Gallagher out of 5. If that's confusing, 2.5 out of 5 skulls. Of course, I wouldn't leave you without some shoutouts. I got some extra records for you. If you want some black metal with some experimentation in it, Modern Rites release Endless on Debemur Morti Productions this Friday, August 30th. And if you want some death metal about volcanoes, Phenocryst releases Cremation Pyre on Blood Harvest, also on Friday, August 30th. So those are the shoutouts. That's the review. What do you think about the new ZEAL and ARDOR? Were you on board before? Are you off board now? Am I wrong? Who's wrong? Who's right? Let me know in the comments below. I appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out with us, and see you on the next one.